Genesis 1:1 begins with God. In the last video, we explored why that matters, that reality has a source, a foundation, a creator. But if that's true, then the next question is unavoidable. Has this creator acted in history? Because if he has, then everything changes. And that brings us to the central claim of Christianity, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Before time, before space, before matter, there was a cause. Not nothing, but someone. What we see in the universe isn't chaos, it's order, structure, precision. The kind of reality that doesn't just exist, but appears grounded in something beyond itself. If God created reality, then reality is not closed to him. He is not limited by it. He can act. He can speak. He can intervene. And the Word was God. He entered his creation. And that brings us to the central claim of Christianity. Not just a teaching, not just a belief, but an event. The resurrection of Jesus Christ. The Bible doesn't just say that God created. It says that God revealed himself. John writes, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God." Not just a messenger, not just a voice, but God himself made known. Paul says it clearly. If Christ has not been raised, your faith is futile. If Jesus stayed dead, Christianity is not weakened. It is false. So the question is simple. Did it actually happen? Not emotionally, not symbolically, but historically. But before answering that, we must ask something more basic. Can we trust the sources that tell us about it? The claims about Jesus are not random. They are early, public, and testable. And that matters for historical reliability. These accounts come from within the lifetime of eyewitnesses, not centuries later. That means they could be challenged by those who were there. These claims were not hidden. They were made publicly, in the same places where the events supposedly happened. That means they were open to scrutiny, not protected from it. The Gospels do not read like legend. They include doubt, fear, failure, even moments that make the disciples look weak. That's not how myths are written. That's how real accounts tend to look. Proclaiming this message was costly. The witnesses suffered, lost status, and gained no earthly power. Yet, they did not recant. These writers were not disconnected. Luke investigates eyewitnesses. Paul meets Peter and James. These are direct connections to the people who claimed to have seen these events. This is one of the most widely accepted facts in ancient history. Even non-Christian historians agree. Jesus was executed by Roman crucifixion, and Roman execution was not uncertain. He was placed in a known tomb. A real location. Not a vague story. Something that could be identified and verified at the time. And then the claim that the tomb was empty, not because the body was moved, but because he was raised. This is where everything turns. Because if this is true, everything changes. The claim is not just that the tomb was empty, but that Jesus appeared to individuals, to groups, and even to hundreds at once. This is not a single, isolated experience. These are named witnesses. Peter, the 12, James, Paul. People who were known and could be questioned. And something changed. These same people who were afraid became bold, public, unshaken, even when it cost them everything. Now, there are real objections. Hallucination, legend, bias, impossibility. And these should not be ignored. They should be examined. But the question is not whether objections exist. The question is, do they explain all the evidence? The empty tomb? The witnesses? The transformation? So before we decide what explains the evidence, we need to return to where we began. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God. Because if that is true, then reality is not self-contained. It is created, sustained, and open to the one who made it. Which means the question is no longer whether a resurrection is possible, but whether it actually happened. If God exists, if the Creator is real, then resurrection is not irrational. It is possible and even expected if God chooses to act. The Bible presents this not as an idea, but as an event. God has given assurance by raising him from the dead. A claim meant to be examined, not just accepted blindly. Jesus was raised. So now, the question comes to you. Not just what you believe, but what best explains the evidence. Because if the Creator has acted in history, in Jesus Christ, then everything changes.